What's up? It's Matt Plapp. We are live. We're going to watch the Matt Plapp episode on Entrepreneur Magazine's website, one of their most recent videos. And if you logged in this morning, you saw this on your screen, which is pretty cool, I got to say, when you grab your phone for the first time in the morning and you see a text message from your team saying, go to entrepreneur.com, check out what the headline is. And it's you on there, the man in orange, talking restaurant marketing. So we'll be back in a second, and we're going to watch the episode together. So let's get right to it. I'm on the back porch, you can see. But if you go to Entrepreneur Magazine, entrepreneur.com, you can find the article. You can check it out. I'll put it in the comments. Let me go ahead and go there. I'll make this bad boy full screen, and we will watch this together.
Powered by Entrepreneur Magazine and Yelp. My name is Shawn Walchef, founder of Cali Barbecue Media, in life and in the restaurant business, and in the creator economy. We learn through lessons and stories. Today's guest is Matt Plapp, the CEO of America's Best Restaurants. We are filming in Florence, Kentucky. Matt, welcome to the show.
Welcome, y'all. That's what we'd say. The water tower out there says y'all. So I had to put on you.
Welcome, y'all. Matt, this is a random question that we start every interview with. Where in the world is your favorite stadium, stage, or venue?
Favorite stadium, stage, or venue? Wow. I love the Pittsburgh Pirates Stadium.
Okay.
And I'm not a baseball fan, but I just like the location of it, the rivers, the atmosphere, the food selection's great.
Beautiful. So Pittsburgh Pirates, we're going to go to that stadium. I don't know how many it seats. I'm going to assume 50,000 people. Okay. But we are going to find the best hospitality professionals globally. And we're going to put on the best conference that has ever been put on for restaurants. So literally, we're going to convince Entrepreneur. We're going to convince Toast, our title sponsor of this show, why we need to put on this conference. And I'm going to put you on the pitcher's mound at Pittsburgh Stadium, raving fans ready to go. Who is Matt Plapp? What is he doing? 2 minutes. So everyone that listens to this show, you need to have your own 2-minute drill. What is your 2-minute drill? Who is Matt Plapp? What is America's Best Restaurants?
Matt Plapp first is a husband to Christy, father to Paige and Cole. After that, I am a business owner and entrepreneur. I'm the CEO of America's Best Restaurants. It's a company I started in 2008 and has transitioned from a local marketing firm in the Cincinnati area, helping small businesses. My first clients were helping them with Facebook in 2008. I'll never forget my first conversations, people telling me Facebook was for their 13-year-old. Why would my company need to be on it? Guess I was ahead of the time on accident. And we evolved into 2015, becoming a nationwide marketing firm helping restaurants. And our acronym is Attract, Build, Retain. How do we help you attract the attention of restaurant consumers who should know who you are or already do? How do we help you build a database of them with their permission on text, email, social media, birthdays? And then how do we help you retain them from a standpoint of keeping their attention? Because I didn't keep my wife's attention for 1 or 2 nights. I kept her for 26 years.
Yeah.
And that's the key to a successful business, isn't what you do today or tomorrow. It's what you do in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years.
So what we do on the show is we talk about smartphone storytelling. We talk about why it's so important to tell your story online, because no one else is going to come and tell the story of your restaurant, the story of your technology, the story of your hospitality business. We got to a point where people were ignoring our brand, Cali Barbecue, and I started leaning into social. That's why we created this show, Restaurant Influencers. That's why we have technology companies like Toast and Pop Menu that support this. When I started finding your content online, what stood out to me were the lessons from the stories that you were telling. You care about all the things that we talk about on the show. You care about social media. You care about TikTok. You care about Facebook. You care about podcasting. You care about blogging. You care about mobile-first website. But one of the things that resonated with me, and what I hope listeners and people watching this find out, is let's talk about a CRM. Why is a CRM so important when we're talking about a restaurant tech stack?
So I can't talk about it from the restaurant's perspective because I've never been a restaurant owner. I plan on opening one next year so we can have one to test here locally, everything we preach so we can practice it. But from my standpoint as a consumer, it does a couple of things. Number one, ironically, Toast, one of my favorite restaurants that I order my smoothies from and acai bowls in Northern Kentucky, when the pandemic hit, wasn't able to walk in anymore. And before that, they didn't have online ordering. When the pandemic hit, they had to figure it out quick, and they did. And so for me as a consumer, it enabled me to get what I still wanted. And I eat there 4 days a week.
Mhm.
And I love it because I'll sit here in my office and Logan from the team will pop his head around the corner and go, "Hey, you want Better Blend?" And I go, "Yeah." I'll pop on their website and I'll order food and we go and get it. And we're back here. So to me, it's a seamless transaction. It's easy. Give them my money. There's a couple of restaurants, I won't mention the name, and they use old technology,
Mhm.
like point of sale from the Al Gore internet days. And it's not easy to order from them. It's not intuitive, doesn't suggest to sell correctly. My data is not stored, my payment. There's just a lot of weird things. So from a consumer standpoint, I might leave and not order with them. The other aspect of it for me is keeping data. I think one of the biggest atrocities in restaurant marketing and small business marketing is they don't actually know who their customers are. And point of sales are a key way to gain customer data. But it comes down to eliminating one question out of your repertoire. How are you doing? It's the number one thing people ask you when you walk into business.
Yeah.
You don't care. I walk in, if I'm a consumer walking in a restaurant, I don't care how they don't care how I'm doing. I don't care how they're doing. Not to be mean, it's a nuanced question. Turn that into a question that gets people into your point of sale, into your loyalty, into your app, whatever you're doing. And I think the point of sale is the key mechanism that triggers that conversation.
So it's really interesting because I'm about to go to Chicago to talk at the National Restaurant Association about this tech stack. And what we said is we want to simplify the tech stack. And the more that we analyze what do we do at our own restaurant with technology and how do we incorporate the things, the principles that we talk about with, it's great to tell your story on TikTok. It's great to tell your story on Instagram Reels, but then what do you do with that information? Like, what do you do with that database? And what full transparency is Cali Barbecue has partnered with America's Best Restaurants to start to tap in to all these different resources, all of this technology that is all around us. But can you give me this bridge analogy of what are we doing with all this technology? Where is it going? And how can we really cultivate this, what we're building?
So I heard this analogy a few years back, and I've heard it in a couple of different variations, but the analogy I heard that resonated with me, and I use it locally, is we've got the Ohio River, separates Northern Kentucky from Cincinnati, Ohio. There's 4 or 5 bridges that you can cross to get over the other side. Imagine if 50 to 100 years ago, the people building those bridges built one halfway across and went, let's do another one. Did the second one, let's do another one, but never got across the river. And so now you're sitting here looking at Cincinnati. And if you drive off, you're falling in the water. That's what I have seen a lot of businesses do. And so one of the things we're trying to accomplish with our company is I've noticed a few big things. Is number one, independent operators don't have the financial resources or the ability to have experts in-house as a marketing department. Just don't. You're unique in that you've got enough people with the Cali Media team, Cali BBQ Media, that they have an expertise. But a lot of restaurants don't even have that. So we wanted to be able to be a resource to people from that standpoint. But also, we wanted to be people that could help them untangle the web of their tech stack. Because I've seen it. I've seen restaurants. I had a conversation the other day with an owner of a restaurant, 18,000 plus emails in their online ordering that he downloaded into a CSV. Never done anything with it. And he's like, "Matt, I need some help." He's like, "We've got our online ordering. We've got this loyalty program. We've got our point of sale. We've got you guys coming on board. We've got an old email list. And I can add a million more things to it." I even made a comment to him. I said, "You've got your Gmail account." "What do you mean?" I said, you guys use Google for your company email, right?" Yeah. Everybody you send an email to the last 20 years is in your sent box. Those are people that for some reason or another have contacted you that probably potential customers that you can be marketing to. And so I look at it, all these businesses, all these restaurants have, number one, the last couple of years, a huge huge round of applause to restaurant owners that have adapted and actually pulled those triggers. When Isaac at Better Blend didn't have online ordering, he didn't wait a month. He figured it out within 24 hours of the pandemic hitting, and the next day I could still get my acai bowl.
Yep.
And so I was joked that restaurants 2 years ago were 20 years behind in technology. I'd say now they're only 10 years behind, because there's a lot of things that Matt Plapp was doing 10, 15, 20 years ago that people still aren't doing. Same, you've seen it as well.
Yep.
And so that half-built bridge analogy is that, yes, you've got data coming into your point of sale. What's happening with it? You've got data coming in from third party. What's happening with it? You got data coming in from, some type of technology like Ovation with reviews. What's happening with it? And then on top of that, is it duplicated data?
Yep.
Are these people getting hit 5 or 6 times, or are they not getting hit at all? And so one of my visions with what we do is helping to identify where these bridges are coming and have them finish one bridge to go across that river instead of having places everywhere.
Can you tell me about how 600 customers can transform a restaurant's P&L? Because so much of what we talk about, why we care so much about this show, is creating different streams of revenue.
Yep.
Having someone like Sam, the cooking guy, who has 3 million YouTube followers, come in and talk about how he's able to leverage that online restaurant influence to impact himself.
Yep.
But what I love about not only what you do to help restaurants build their influence with social storytelling, you also talk about digital marketing.
Yep.
And that digital marketing is restaurants that are in business already have a community that loves them. How do you tap into that community that already loves them?
So a couple things on the 600 story. This came up because I was getting frustrated talking to restaurant owners who thought some miracle of 100,000 customers was going to solve their problem. That, hey, I got to build an email list that's 10,000. I had a guy tell me, Matt, next 12 months, I got to build an email list, 10,000 people strong. Why 10,000 people? I don't know. It just, to him, it seemed like a number. And so I started breaking it down, and I said, you realize it only takes 600 customers. And the reason that number came from was I was looking at the average check of this company. I said, all you need is 600 customers to deeply, deeply love what you're doing and take a hold of your brand and come do more business with you. And he goes, 600, no way. And so we had talked about it. And then ironically, I was at a food show speaking in South Carolina like 4 or 5 months later. And I said it there. This guy goes, 600 customers that can make a difference. So, okay. Average number of times somebody eats at your restaurant. He was like, 30. Like, so a couple times a month. Yeah. So if I took 600 people and got them to either come brand new 6 times, frequent customers 6 more times, or maybe spend more money on those 6 visits, or somebody that hadn't been in a while, because we know the pandemic changed traffic patterns of people working from home, not going to the office, different things, get people that quit coming to come 6 times.
Yep.
So if I took 600 people and created 6 incremental visits per, that's 3,600 visits. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but if I take 3,600 visits times $40, the average check at Cali BBQ, it's going to equal 6 figures.
Yep.
And when you look at that, the key element is it's incremental. That restaurants that I love locally that don't have my information, like I use Walt Titching Post, I use barley corns, I'll eat at those restaurants every damn week. But I don't, because I'm not influenced enough by their marketing. I'm not influenced enough by their marketing because they don't control the key elements to reach me. My birthday, my email, my cell phone. They don't control what having me pixeled, having me in the algorithm of engaging with their Facebook or Instagram. So by not having that, they're not able to drive those 3,600 visits. And that's a big problem. I come from the background of the boat and RV business. When I got out of radio, me and my dad and brother started the dealership. It was not an option. When somebody walked in our front door, there was not an option. It was non-negotiable. You get their information no matter what. And we would make stuff up. I'd tell employees, you have free will to do whatever. I remember one time Richie Young's like, hey, you need to join the birthday program. What's that? You get a gift on your birthday. Sweet. Gave them all of this is handwritten back then. Yep. We had lead cards. And they asked questions. Do you hunt? Do you fish? Do you camp? Do you ride ATVs? They went into, we used ACT, which is probably, I don't even know if it's around anymore. It was antiquated back then, but it was what we had.
Yeah.
And this is in like 2002, 2003. So 20 years ago. But we did that because I knew that the key to our success wasn't selling that guy an ATV right now. It was selling him an ATV now, selling him a boat in a year, selling him a camper in 2 years, selling him another ATV in 3 years. The success that Cali Barbecue has isn't from you selling me a barbecue sandwich once.
Yep.
It's from me buying a barbecue sandwich every week the next 5 years. It's from me bringing business colleagues in for a lunch. It's from me coming in and getting this free peach cobbler offer like you have and saying, hey, I want to try this peach cobbler. And me having it one time and going, damn, this is good. And guess what happens every order after that? Incremental purchase of peach cobbler. I tell a story of Larose'S locally. It's a pizza brand locally that I've grown up with. It was franchised now, but it started off as a mom and pop by Larose'S. They had a cookie promotion years ago where you got a free cookie with this, I think it was a new loyalty program they launched. So I went there, my wife and kids, and we got our cookies. And I remember getting those. I didn't think of Larose'S for cookies, a pizza place. To me, I didn't tie it in. But they were great cookies.
Yep.
The last 5 to 7 years, you know how many damn cookies I bought? I bought 27 the other night we had a company picnic event here, a ping pong party. And we had 27 cookies. I looked at how many people were here. I'm like, I'm going to eat like 40 of these damn things. So I ordered 27 cookies. They didn't get that ROI right away. They got it over 5, 6, 7 years, but they also got it because they offered me something to get me to take another action. And so that's a key element. When you talk about the storytelling part of it, retention marketing comes in many ways. I'm not a fan of people putting a post on Facebook and saying, hey, come to our Mother's Day brunch. Hey, come get your Super Bowl party catered with us, because people don't care about that stuff. What I'm a fan of is when the owner of the restaurant gets on their phone and says, hey, what's up? It's Matt. Mother's Day's in a couple weeks. I want to see and hear about your memories of you and your mom. My mom's special to me. I'm going to tell you a story right now. Do me a favor, in the comments on this post, drop a picture of you and your mom. I know you got one in your camera roll, and a couple of sentences about a special memory you share with her, because screw celebrating moms one day in May. Let's celebrate them for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, whatever. That right there, all of a sudden, starts a couple hundred conversations. We had a client that had 700 comments on a Facebook post about Mother's Day. I saw a local restaurant did their Mother's Day brunch post. It had 2 likes and a comment. So if you start conversations with people and you get 700 of those 700 stack up.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, the number of people that engaged in that turned around to their wife and went, hey, this restaurant sounds good. Yeah, that's what happens. And so to me, the piece that people have really missed in marketing, especially digital media, and even email and texting, is the word conversation. One of our sales guys said recently to a customer, I heard him say on the phone, he said, the reason your marketing on Facebook's not working for your brand is everything you post is an advertisement. Facebook wants you to pay for advertisements. So organically, it's not going to give you any juice. They can see all the text. They can see that it's a TV commercial repurposed for Facebook. But if you get on there and use your smartphone and tell a story and introduce, this is Mike Smith. Mike's one of our chefs. And every Thursday night, Mike gets 2 hoagies, a 2-liter Mountain Dew, and 2 large pizzas with some French fries. Mike, why do you get that order? Take it home with my family. Oh, you got what? How many old are your kids? 12 and 14. So they like that and that. Well, you know what? We got the Mike Smith special. Mike Smith special tonight, $29.99, and every Thursday night, because that's what Mike does. We're going to celebrate Mike and his family every Thursday. I had a client that did that, called it the Tim Miller special. It was full retail. He just took the price off the menu, added it up. People were coming in every day, and it was a Thursday, and asking for the Tim Miller special. It worked like clockwork because he was creating conversations, telling stories, and relating to a different part of the customer's brain, because they've blocked out the advertising.
And a quick break from our Restaurant Influencers show to welcome our newest sponsor, Pop Menu. As a current restaurant owner myself, I know that constant phone calls can get in the way of serving guests in the restaurant. But not answering your phone means that you are losing out on potential customers. 42% of restaurant guests will eat somewhere else if their call is missed. That is why we recommend Pop Menu Answering. Pop Menu Answering is powered by artificial intelligence to answer the simple questions most people call in with, like, do you have outdoor seating? What are your hours? Within the Pop Menu platform, you can customize answers for your restaurant and choose the voice your guest hears, plus create customized greetings. Pop Menu Answering picks up your phone 24/7, 365 days out of the year. Plus, Pop Menu Answering helps you gain insight into what potential customers are typically calling about, turning every call into an opportunity. Reclaim the power of your phone now with Pop Menu Answering. And for a limited time, our listeners get $100 off your first month. Plus, lock in one unchanging monthly rate at popmenu.com/influencers. Go now and get $100 off your first month. To learn more about Pop Menu's full collection of tools at popmenu.com/influencers. And now back to the show.
We have people all over the nation that listen to this podcast, actually globally now, because of Entrepreneur and because of Yelp and because of Toast. We want to teach them the tools that will help them win to start sharing their story.
Yep.
What I love about what you've created is that you're trying to do the same thing with America's Best Restaurants. What's the vision for America's Best Restaurants? And if someone's listening to this, what do they do to get their restaurant on this new show that you've created?
So my vision, 2018, as I was traveling the country, my first book, doing 86-year restaurant sales, I spoke at a few conferences, and I had a few masterminds I held with restaurant owners. And the one thing I saw then that was amplified in the pandemic was that restaurant owners don't do a good job of telling their story. Today, we talked to a gentleman here, not a restaurant owner, but David Klug of Allie's Walkabout. Allie's Walkabout came from his daughter walking dogs in their neighborhood. And by the time she was like 14, she was making six figures watching dogs at her parents' house.
It's incredible.
And now it's
incredible entrepreneurial.
Now
story.
it's a multi-seven-figure business that her mom and dad are part owner with her. This sounds like she was 13. Those stories aren't out there enough. And I used to always jokingly say, the other avenue of that was, imagine if, the popular TV shows, Diners, Drive-Ins, Guy Fieri was at Cali Barbecue featuring you and said, hey, I want to show you something. I think we could help fill some gaps in your marketing. You would know without a doubt, listen to Guy.
Yep.
So I told my company, I said, we're one of the best marketing services providers for independent restaurants in the country. We need to have more people know us. Also, we're good at telling people stories, and restaurants aren't telling their story. What if we created a locally grown concept called America's Best Restaurants, where we travel the country and with our hosts tell the story? So instead of having Matt, because originally it was Matt Plapp, and I realized that because my vision was, I would imagine there's somewhere around 100,000 awesome independent restaurants.
Yep.
Might be more, might be less. That's a number. I did some analyzation, figured that
we think there's more.
There's probably
there's more.
And so I said, what if I could travel the country and tell their stories? Well, then I started doing the math on how it would take me like 30 years for Matt Plapp to make an impact. So I said, okay, let's take Matt Plapp out of the equation. And I looked at Luis on my team, Ryan on my team, Doug on my team, Griff on my team, me. Let's share the duty. We want the owner to have the spotlight, not us. And then also, instead of creating a show that went on TV, let's create a show that goes on their channels.
Yep.
Let's bring America's Best Restaurants. Because if you hadn't heard of America's Best Restaurants.
Hi, ladies. Alex from US Bank. Can she help?
What about a new oven?
We can serve loans in as fast as 12 minutes. That would be a big help.
Huge.
Jumbo.
Ginormous. US Bank. We'll get there together.
And somebody called you and said, we want to feature you guys on America's Best Restaurants. You've been identified as one of the best barbecue restaurants in San Diego. Instantly, you'd be like, so America's Best Restaurants. And your consumers. We had a restaurant the other day that their Facebook post they put up announcing that we were there the day before. 1,500 people engaged in that post. Their most successful post they've had ever. None of those people knew what America's Best Restaurants was, but the name speaks. Sure. And so from 2018, 19, I had this vision I wanted to do. Didn't do it because I honestly didn't have the money. I had americasbestrestaurants.net. Didn't own .com. I couldn't afford it. I didn't have the IP lined up correctly, the intellectual property. I didn't have the trademarks. We weren't structured to do it right. 2020 came. I saw the pandemic, and I had my tech team do some research on the clients we worked with that were doing exceptional versus the clients we worked with that weren't excelling. And these are almost identical types of restaurants, same neighborhoods. All the factors were the same. The thing that stood out was telling the story. Was that the restaurants that were dominating were the ones that were actively involved in digital storytelling.
Yep.
And I said that what's better to digital storytell than that restaurant being interviewed by Luis or Doug from America's Best Restaurants. So we launched it. We bought 2 Mercedes vans. The goal is to have 2 more this year. I want to have ideally 15 to 20 in the next 5 years positioned around the country to where we are a micro station that is on the iPhone, on the digital phone, on the tablet that goes around and tells the story. And we created americasbestrestaurants.com from the consumer side. Is you go on there now, there's a map that's orange and blue. Orange is states we've been in. We haven't been in all the states yet. And our goal is to create a listing on there and be able to offer the restaurants a place where there's no reviews. It's 100% their story. The only reason they're on the site is because we vetted them.
Yep.
I don't need consumers to tell me this barbecue restaurant messed up their kid's birthday party 2 years ago. We've done the process of vetting the restaurants and know that this is an independently owned.
Hi, ladies. Alex from US Bank. Can she help?
What about a new oven?
We can serve loans in as fast as 12 minutes. That would be a big help.
Huge.
Jumbo. Ginormous.
US Bank. We'll get there together.
An operated store. The restaurant's inside, the owner's inside the four walls consistently. The staff gives a shit. The food is amazing. The atmosphere is cool. There's some uniqueness about it. And my goal is to eventually, in the next 5 years, get all of those restaurants on there and have vans around the country that go around and capture that story and create a brand. Because I've had friends of mine, they're like, dude, what you thought of is genius because it speaks America's best restaurants. I mean, it says it all.
Yeah.
And then the other avenue of that, to be selfish on it, was one of the reasons it came up was I used to joke, what if everybody knew us like they knew Guy? Guy's on there. He's got a TV show. They have advertising money. He has a $40 million contract, I think is what I heard recently. We don't have that. I want to get that authority and say, hey, we have a marketing side that whatever needs your company has, whether you want advice on how to integrate your POS with your email service provider, we'll give you free advice.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to take it to the next level, we've got a trusted marketing department that can be your at-large marketing services. And so I figured, well, if we want to kill two birds at one stone, I want to create my own media channel that'll funnel credibility to the restaurants, put us out there as a business, but then at the same time, create a place that consumers can find places in their neighborhoods that they could eat at weekly.
So one of the things that's so important for me, which attracted me to the work that you were doing, is that you're not scared to share your own story.
Yeah.
Matt Plapp is a brand. America's Best Restaurant is a brand. Deep Work Studio, where you do your media content, is a brand. For someone that's listening to this, why is it important for them to step out behind their logo?
It's who you are. I'm amazed the number of friends of mine that have businesses. I had a friend the other day I saw who's like a restaurant guy. Got a great restaurant. You wouldn't know he owned it if it wasn't for, working in the business, or you knew his employees and knew who was the owner.
Hi, ladies. Alex from US Bank. Can she help?
What about a new oven?
We can serve loans in as fast as 12 minutes. That would be a big help.
Huge.
Jumbo. Ginormous.
US Bank. We'll get there together.
Doesn't wear it, doesn't drive it. Like, my cars have my stuff on it. My cars match my color brand. I wear orange shoes, orange shirt. The MP logo is pretty much everywhere I exist. It's important to eat, sleep, and drink your own brand for a couple reasons. Number one, it shows ultimate trust in what you're doing to your employees.
Yeah.
We all preach about employee. Hey, man, tell your friends, tell your friends. You're not telling your damn friends.
Yeah.
And so if they see you doing it, they're going to follow the leader. The next step is it creates a pride, a level of pride with the brand, with the product. Then all of a sudden, customers are proud to be behind it. One of my goals with this logo, it looks like a fist bump, the MP, that we created, I guess maybe 4 or 5 years ago now, was I eventually want that to be a sign, a brand, a gear that entrepreneurs wear. It's orange. The fist bump is universal. Now it is more than ever, but it's like hit the rock. And it happens to be an MP, kind of covert. But I wanted to create something that stood for something. Energy, love, happiness, fun, drive. And you have to do it every day. And if you don't live your own brand, why should customers support you?
So every week on Wednesday and on Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, we do a Clubhouse call, and people that listen to this show, they come and they participate in Clubhouse, and we do a social shout out. So Andy Jones of The Cafe Hustle podcast, we'll put a link in the show note. He's been showing up to Clubhouse. He's been participating. He's been reaching out. What kind of advice would you have to not just Andy, but anyone that is going to get into the podcasting game, this audio storytelling game, video storytelling? We just launched my third podcast, your third podcast, Own Their Phones, which we'll put a link into the show notes as well. What kind of advice would you give to anyone that's listening to the show, also Andy, on the podcast game?
Hi, ladies. Alex from US Bank. Can she help?
What about a new oven?
We can serve loans in as fast as 12 minutes. That would be a big help.
Huge.
Jumbo. Ginormous.
US Bank. We'll get there together.
Be sincere, be from the heart, make it about the guests. To me, like my goal is to interview people in most of my episodes. I've done a couple by myself, but my goal is to do it with somebody else to kind of tie it back. Like I had a banker in a couple weeks ago, and he's a local banker. And the context of it was, dude, during the pandemic, I was constantly getting hit up by restaurant owners for advice on PPP loans and I'm a marketing dude. Like, why are you calling me?
Yeah.
I was the most knowledgeable person they knew because they had seen me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, doing podcasts with people from the restaurant finance world. And they knew me, so they reached out. And I had Lytle Thomas on from First National Bank, Kentucky. And the reason I had him on was, one, to give him some love. Two, I think restaurants need to work with local bankers more often and create a relationship. But number three, I wanted him also to give me his opinion on how does that conversation happen with the right person? Because you shouldn't have been called Matt Plapp. You should have had a trusted CPA, a trusted tax advisor, a trusted banker, a trusted attorney that's a hell of a lot smarter than me. And so I think podcasts are a great way to develop and cultivate those relationships and also connect with your customers. Because yes, you're a restaurant owner. What post did we see on your Facebook page that got, or Instagram, that got massive engagement?
My daughter.
Your daughter.
My daughter at the Chargers game.
You're also a dad.
Yeah.
You're also a husband.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you can have a podcast about a restaurant that, yeah, you're a pizza joint, you're a bar, you're a deli. You're more than that. You're a place the community goes to gather. You're a place that supports local sports teams. You're a father. You're a dad. Put those things out there. And I think that's what, if you put that behind the podcast and don't worry about selling anything.
Yep.
The last thing I think about on my podcast is, okay, I need to do an episode that'll get people to buy something. Because if you do that, you just lost.
Yeah. So what's your favorite digital playground? Where can people interact with you the best?
Hi, ladies. Alex from US Bank. Can she help?
What about a new oven?
We can serve loans in as fast as 12 minutes. That would be a big help.
Huge.
Jumbo. Ginormous.
US Bank. We'll get there together.
So I'm unique in that my team interacts on my platforms more than me.
I appreciate the honesty.
So I read.
But you have a team, so
yeah.
Let's not forget that he's investing as a business owner in his team, and he's giving his team the tools to drive. You and I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for you podcasting, if it wasn't for your team reaching out to me, you coming to Cali Barbecue, going on your show, you coming on my show. Incredible things can happen when you're playing the game within the game. So what's your favorite digital playground? Where can people interact with you the most?
Cell phone. So 859-743-2408. It's my cell phone, and I'm game for any conversation on there. Text is the easiest way to start. And if it makes sense to hop on a call, we'll hop on a call and go from there.
So this is entrepreneur.com. So that's going out to the entire globe. Feel free to text Matt. You heard it here. This is Restaurant Influencers. Thank you guys for listening to the show. Stay curious. Get involved. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you need to reach out to me, it's at Shawn P. Walchef, SHAWN PWALCHEF. That's Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, anywhere on the internet, or you can email me, Shawn@CaliBBQ.media. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for your hospitality. Thank you, America's Best Restaurant, the entire team out here. Really love what you guys are doing. Can't wait to see somebody that's listening to this show right now be on America's Best Restaurant. That's what that'll be amazing.
Can't wait.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
And a special thank you to our title sponsor, Toast. Toast is the primary technology partner that we use at our restaurant, Cali Barbecue. It is also the primary technology partner that so many of the guests have shared with us on this show. People like Sam, the cooking guy, Stacy Poonkinney, Jeff Alexander. So many times the guests tell us that they're using Toast when we didn't even know that going into the interview. That is why we are so grateful that they sponsor this show. We want you to win.
There we go. You saw it. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate if you watch in the replay. So, by the way, I want to do something different. In all of the places, it's on LinkedIn, it's on Facebook, it's on YouTube. If you watched live, hashtag live below. If you watch the replay, hashtag replay. I'm going to give away $100 cash to anybody No, not to anybody. I'm going to give away $100 cash, and I'm going to draw from anybody who did the hashtag. Hashtag live. My first entry is my man, Luis. Employees are eligible. So my team that's helping spread the word about America's best restaurants. You know what? I want to go there and show you this because this is big for us. This is something we've been working on for a long time. And to see it come to fruition is cool. And of course, there's people out there in internet land throwing shade at us on different things like they're always going to. But I want to show you America's best restaurants and what we got going on because the site's come a long way. The brand's come a long way. Can y'all see that on there? Let's see. Add to stream. There it is. So this is the site, and this is my dream. This is my vision, is that we've got two ways we can help. Number one, consumers, eventually, I'll say 18 months. 18 months, consumers will know 100% what americasbestrestaurants.com is because they will know to go to America's Best Restaurants to find restaurants in their neighborhood that they need to be eating at. That's where they'll go to find places. And you can bet there'll be integrations with other platforms out there that reference find it on americasbestrestaurants.com. So that's what this is. And you come here, you go to americasbestrestaurants.com, you come on here, and you can scroll through and find restaurants. And of course, the orange are because that's where we've been to. I had somebody the other day was like, oh, well, how can you all have any in Kansas? I'm like, because we ain't been to Kansas yet. Because it ain't cheap to have these vans running everywhere, especially I think we're at diesel's like $7 a gallon now. But, we're in Missouri right now. My man Luis and Austin are in Missouri filming yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And then I believe they're in Indiana on Thursday and Friday and then back home. But the vans go out of here. And so when you go on here, like, for example, I'll go to Tennessee and there's a restaurant that, I know all about. I'll go to Steel Coop because we use this as an example a lot. So Steel Coop is a restaurant we filmed at, and you can click on their listing and you can check out about Steel Coop and watch their episode. And eventually there's going to be a lot of stuff on here. But the only way restaurants get on here is to be awesome, is to be great, independently owned and operated restaurants. And the other side is restaurant marketing that works, exactly what it says. This is marketing that helps restaurants. And there's two ways to work with us. There's a cool video here by a great guy in orange. And then down here, there's, hey, I want to get featured. You go to the Get Featured page, and this walks through what America's Best Restaurants is all about. It walks through what you get when we show up. It has a place to be applied. And guess what? Everybody doesn't get picked because there's certain restaurants that don't fit the bill. They don't look like we want from a standpoint of places that I would go all the time. And then the other part of our business is helping restaurants outsmart the big boys, the chains, the large national companies. And so on this page, there's a podcast series I did with Hillcrest Foods up in Cleveland, Ohio. They are a beast when it comes to supplying food and product for independent restaurants in that region. And they interviewed me and we talked about my method, ABR, track, build, retain. And you can watch those and then request a strategy call with somebody from the team. So that's what we do. That's what America's Best Restaurants is all about. I'm out because I have an interview in 6 minutes about being a speaker at an international expo in Washington later this year. So that's all I got. I appreciate your support. Make sure you check out americasbestrestaurants.com. Make sure you drop that #live, #live. Oh, my dad went #Matt Plapp. You know what, Dad? You might get 2 entries for the Matt Plapp. So that's all we got. Ryan, I appreciate your kind words. And you also get paid to say that. So there's probably, if you didn't get paid, you'd be like, he's okay. No, I'm just kidding. See y'all. Appreciate your hard work. Appreciate your support. Everybody, see you later.